The Galaxy Tab S3 was the last Android tablet that I tested out that was supposed to be at the high end, and ever since I got my iPad Pro, I haven't looked back. There was a lot holding back that device, even if I love it dearly for what it was. But I've been waiting and waiting for another upgrade that could be significant enough to possibly dethrone the iPad Pro, because the competition is desperately needed. Now, with that said, I would like to introduce the best Android tablet right now, the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra. Let's dive right in. The exterior design consists of aluminum for the back and the corners of this device, with a huge slab of glass around the front. Now, this device is really thin and absolutely massive at the same time, but it does fit in my small bow tie bag just fine, so I don't really have many complaints here. I would say that this device is built pretty well, but I will not do a bend test to prove that. I'm sure that it would break anyway if I tried that, since it's just a very thin device. You're getting a premium build for sure. Now, this device comes with quad speakers that are going to be split up across the body. On the bottom, you will find two of those speakers and a USB-C port. On the top, you're going to find another set of speakers. On the right, you're going to find your sleep-wake button and the volume rocker. On the left, you're going to find some pins for Samsung's own accessories. On the back, you will find a magnet charger for your included S Pen, which is awesome. I do really like the build and overall design, minus that aspect ratio. I will talk about that more pretty soon, but this tablet is so far pretty good, and I really like it so far. Though it's not really what I would prefer, generally speaking. So this device features a 14.6 inch, 16 by 10, 1848 by 2960 Super AMOLED display that runs at 120 Hz. This display, in terms of how it looks, is one of the best things I've ever seen. This display, to me, looks miles better than the iPad Pro's mini LED screen because of the very dark blacks and the very bright whites that create such an incredible color contrast. Maybe this display is not ideal for color accurate work, which is a fair criticism due to the default calibration here, and it clearly being catered towards entertainment. So keep that in mind, though you can change the color calibration in the settings for the natural setting. However, everything just looks muted, not more natural, which is where the iPad Pro absolutely defeats this device. So keep this display in vivid mode for the best results. Hell, I definitely kept it this way throughout this entire review. So the quad speakers on this device are absolutely fantastic. They probably sound better than the iPad Pro speakers, and I really enjoy them. Decent amount of depth, they get pretty loud, and they just sound great overall. These are AKG powered, by the way, so have a listen.
Jean will be upset if she catches us lazing around like this.
So I know that most people don't really care about the rear-facing cameras on the tablet, but I will talk about both the front-facing camera and the rear-facing cameras on this one. The rear-facing camera is very good, like one of the best you will find on any tablet. I took some pictures with it that I thought looked pretty good, and portrait mode with it is very solid as well. I liked it a lot, but I will hardly ever use this camera, so I want to focus more on the front-facing camera. Now, this camera would be great for video calls already, and it does shoot in 4K, and it does look pretty damn good overall. So portrait mode is also very solid with this one, and I think that they did a really good job making this one work so well. The camera is also in a great spot for video calls and remote situations, so I have nothing but great things to say about these cameras. If this was a smartphone, I would be more critical, but since this is a tablet, these cameras are better than they need to be, and I enjoyed using them a lot. This device features a Snapdragon 9 Gen 1 SM8450 CPU, an Adreno 730 GPU, 8 GB of RAM at the base with the option to get 16 gigs, 128 gigs of storage at the base here too, and the storage is not expandable, so you better choose what storage amount you want carefully when you buy this device, and an 11,200 milliamp hour battery, which is really impressive. It's huge. These specs are really impressive. Top of the line for Android tablets. So let's see what it can accomplish. Now let's go ahead and talk about the version of Android that we are running on this device. So we've got Android 12, which I mean, it better have Android 12 considering how recent this device is, but you do get Samsung skin, so you get a lot of Samsung apps already pre-installed, so you do have that to contend with if it's something that you don't like. But you can download the Google standard apps for a more stock experience if you want that. And speaking of stock, this OS is far from being like stock Android in terms of how it looks, how it operates, etc. But this is fine because it's all part of the experience that you should expect from this tablet. In fact, the S Pen is actually part of what makes this experience as good as it is, since there is a quick start menu that you can trigger and do things like creating a quick note, smart selecting objects, taking a screenshot and writing on the screen, and sending live messages, doodling, highlighting text to translate, and you can even add other functions that make this such a cool way of operating your tablet. You can revolve so much of this experience around this pen, which is something that I never realized I needed until I tried it. The pen itself is not that big, but most people should find it comfortable enough. It has a button that you can customize, which is pretty cool. Now, I will talk about performance and drawing soon, so stick around for that. But even if it's not stock Android, this is why you would want a tablet like this, for that Samsung experience that you won't get anywhere else. So when it comes to the overall performance, we have a very streamlined experience. It's great. It's super smooth. Going through tasks is great, and I have many apps open all at once without many issues. This is really great. I mean, if you need a smooth tablet for all of your tasks, then you definitely don't need this one, but this is as good as it gets. For basic tasks like typing, doodling, browsing, watching content, playing games, etc., this is absolutely overkill, but it is still a really, really good experience. So let's go ahead and talk about performance in Genshin Impact. So we are finally getting into gaming here. This is probably one of the most demanding games on Android in particular, so I was very interested in seeing how it handled Genshin Impact. And honestly, I don't think it looks too good on this tablet, especially compared to the M1 iPad Pro. It's completely playable, but you will notice a lot of artifacting and some pop-in. The game does straight up look like it is running at a considerably lower resolution, and all of these visual flaws are easy to spot on a screen that's this large. Well, this was the case with the default settings at medium at least, which is odd considering that at the highest setting, Genshin looks much better and still runs really well. Granted, it's still running at around 60 Hz, but performance is very good here, even if it's not particularly impressive. Honestly, I expected more out of this gaming test, but do know that you can play Genshin Impact without issues at max settings on this tablet, so by proxy, a lot of other Android games should be totally playable on this device, and that includes Asphalt 9, which looks absolutely flawless on this one. Now let's talk about the S Pen. So when it comes to drawing in Sketchbook Pro, it's honestly rather incredible. The pen is much more comfortable to hold than previous iterations, so it was already a pretty big step up, not to mention that this device actually includes the stylus, which is how it should be. This pen is really good for drawing, and pressure sensitivity feels right on point. Tilting for shading is very simple and easy, such as it makes shading and the like very intuitive. It's a very fine tip that's featured on this pen, so I find it to be better for precision overall. It's definitely better than the Apple Pencil when it comes to precision, in my opinion. But I will be doing a full comparison between the two tablets in due time unless the M2 model comes out before that video does, in which case I will compare this one to the M2 model. But so far, I have really been enjoying drawing on this tablet, and I don't just think that this pen is great for sketches, but it should be great for full-on drawings. This is awesome, and it's just how it should be. Now, I do wish that this had an eraser tip like the Surface Pen does, but this is still one of the best pens I have used, and it does have its advantages over other pens. I know that I mostly just talked about the pen, but obviously a tablet like this should be able to handle drawing software just fine, so there's really no point in talking about performance too much. It's great for drawing, and many will appreciate the screen real estate with this one. So when it comes to photo editing, I had to say a lot, actually. So first, let's go ahead and talk about performance in one of the most popular photo editors on Android, Photoshop Express. Performance is fantastic, and you can get through your edits very quickly and swiftly. I'm very comfortable using this software on this device, and it does have landscape support, which I appreciate, but here's the thing. Photoshop Express, just like every other photo editor I have found on Android, is only good enough to edit photos to post online, and not at all for commercial use. And if you need to pay for this software in order to use it monthly or yearly, depending on your preferred payment plan, this is such a waste because we keep getting better tablets and stronger hardware, but only Apple gets the good apps. This becomes a huge waste of potential for creatives because you're stuck with pretty much basic photo editors that could work as minor practice, but it's such a major departure from actual Photoshop. Now, Photoshop specifically on the iPad is still not that great, but here it's despicable that this is what we're limited to. Do not get this for photo editing unless your edits will be simple, and it's only one of the many things that you plan on doing on this device. Now onto video editing. We're going to be editing 4K footage here using the Power Director app on Android. This app is probably the closest that I have seen to LumaFusion on iOS. You do get even stabilization, which is really cool to have, but it is locked behind the paid version. That I don't mind, since I will pay if it means that I can get to work. But the problem is that this app is limited to portrait for some obnoxious reason, and I cannot edit in landscape. What the actual fuck? The only editing app that I have found, and I can't even use it now in the way that I believe that it should be used. However, in terms of performance, this is a really good performer, and if this app even just allowed for landscape and cleaned up the interface a bit, it would be so good for editing on Android. Premiere Rush is a far cry from being a proper editor, so I won't even really bother much with that either. Though honestly, this isn't the greatest experience for editing, even if this tablet can definitely handle it. So this tablet has a huge battery, and the battery life is very good. I'd say that 8 hours is pretty easy to accomplish here, but I think that it can go even further than that if you needed to. But it does also depend on what you're doing. If you're video editing, expect less, and if you're gaming, expect even less than that. But standby power appears to be a little bit off. Like in standby, expect to lose about 10 to 15% per day, which is somewhat odd for a device like this, but oh well. And that concludes this video. This device is really cool, and I'm really glad that I got to review it, because right now this is the best that Android has to offer when it comes to tablets. But unfortunately, I don't think it's worth it, and it's not because there is anything wrong with this tablet. It's quite the opposite, but it's because of two big reasons. One, the keyboard accessory for it is kind of crappy, as it's really difficult to use on your lap, and it's pretty flimsy, especially for the price. Third-party solutions aren't much better, so I wouldn't really worry too much about that. The laptop-esque experience just isn't there. Maybe Bridge will come up with something for it, but until then, you're better off buying a laptop for this purpose for that money. And number two, the apps are holding this tablet back big time. It kind of sucks that Apple always gets all of the attention, even from Adobe. And it really sucks because we don't have proper video editing software like LumaFusion, or proper photo editors, or animation software, etc. It's just stuff to really take advantage of the hardware and that incredible pen that it comes with. So that asking price for this tablet is asking far too much, because you simply cannot make the most out of this tablet. So instead, I would recommend getting the cheaper Tab S8 models, but if you need to get work done on a tablet, and then get the M1 iPad Pro. Hopefully the software situation changes, because that would really add so much more value to this tablet. For now, I can't recommend it. So thank you so much for watching this video all the way up until the very end. I do very much appreciate it. I know that this was a little bit of a long one, but yeah, hopefully you got through it just fine. And if you're still interested in this tablet, or if you aren't interested in the lower iterations of it, like just the regular Tab S8 and the Tab S8 Plus, then I will be leaving affiliate links to Amazon to all of these. So if you are interested in getting any of these, if you use my affiliate link, you would be helping out the channel directly. So I would really appreciate that a lot if you were to use my affiliate link. So links down below. Now, please make sure to follow me on Twitch and on Instagram as well if you would like to keep up with some more stuff. And I do have some more channels as well. I have a vlogging channel and the Tech Summit podcast, which should be back right around now, right? Now, with that said, this has been Francisco from Tech Summit. Oh, man. Thank you for watching, and until next time, enjoy.